gardening friends. Hi, how are you doing today? I'm Mary from Rocky Mountain Gardens here in Colorado, Zone 4 Gardening. And today I am planning to give you a tour of my garden. It is the end of July and many of my plants are maturing and blooming, and I have actually worked to try to get them on film as they bloom so you can see them in their prime. So I'll give you a view of my overall garden today, but I also will show you some specific plants and how beautiful they look when they're in full bloom. Hope you enjoy this little tour, and I will be giving you that view of my garden here in just a minute. Now here's the view from my back swing. You can see up my path and my house there in the background. Here's my raised veggie bed, and we'll come around here. To my left is my garden shed. I have this nice stone wall here. And I'll take a quick walk up my path back to my house. There's my back porch. And then we follow the path over to my little patio. We have my fountain here. Here's a view of my garden back at my house, and I thought I would just give you a little overall look at my garden. My Joe Pye weed is growing quite vigorously. Look, it's almost as tall as my fence now, and soon in August, it will be getting blooms. But just looking around here, here's my garden shed and my hammock. And then around here, you can see my veggie garden back there in the background. This section of my garden is a well-established area with this lovely moonshine yarrow. And this yarrow, I love the bright yellow color, but it also is the longest blooming yarrow to bring color to your garden. And then we have an Anthony Waterer spirea right here. I'll give you a close-up of the flowers. They're quite brilliant pink. And also, I believe this is the longest blooming spirea as well. And then here I have my variegated Carl Forster feather reed grass, which has its seed heads coming on now. Seed heads on grasses are called inflorescences, if you'd like a new vocabulary word for your gardening. Over here, I wanted to share with you this little artemisia, which is called silver mound, and it is quite nice. I like it. Now, as the summer passes, it will kind of collapse in the middle, and that's okay. You can just cut it all back, and then it will regrow into a cute little silver mound. Very nice plant for the foliage. So here you are with this area of my garden. An area that just is bright with color. This plant is a little thread leaf coreopsis called moonbeam. And what I particularly like about it are the airy stems and leaves. Make it very wispy looking. And also the flowers have a lemon yellow color, which is really my favorite color of yellow to plant in my garden. So these are quite pretty. I'm going to come in here so you can get a close-up of the blooms. Very nice. Another plant I wanted to be sure you did not miss while it is in bloom. Well, you can see my lavender here, which is ending its bloom period. But this lovely plant here, I'm going to give you a close-up of, whoopsie, in the shade of some of the blooms. I'm sorry the sun is so bright, but wine cups bloom in the daytime and then close up their blossoms in the evening, so I have to get you a photo of them in the sunlight. But this plant grows large, and I won't say it spreads, it doesn't volunteer around the garden, but it certainly does get big, and that is a wonderful thing for us gardeners who like to really have a large collection of plants in our gardens. Take a look at these gorgeous rose campions. Aren't they so pretty? And if you look in the background there, you can see more have spread up in another area of this garden. Rose campion is a biennial, which means that it starts growing one year when it has seeded, the next and doesn't bloom, and then the next year it gives you a full bloom, and then it goes to seed. And if you allow those seed pods to go ahead and grow and on your plants, don't deadhead them, those seeds will spread and you will have lots of new rose campion the following year. I also have to say this is fairly xeric as well. It grows in lots of areas of my garden, and it is not on a drip system. So, another great plant. Here's a close-up of my zebra grass. Now, this is a clumping grass that you do not have to worry about it spreading around in your garden. And over time, it will grow into this just really tremendously large clump. And later in the season, it will also develop its seed heads, which are quite pretty, and you can keep them up all winter. They provide winter interest in your garden. It's hard to tell right now, but zebra grass does not develop its zebra stripes until later in the summer. So right now the grasses look more of a solid color, but they are just beginning to get their zebra stripes. Later on, I'll show you what it looks like when they're fully developed. This splendid feathery plant is fennel, and this is a particular variety called bronze fennel. As you can see, it has these very feathery little tiny leaves, and it does get blooms on it a little later in the summer. What I really enjoy about it is that it attracts the caterpillars for the black swallowtail butterfly. So if you enjoy feeding and providing food for butterfly larvae, This bronze fennel is a wonderful choice. And as you can see, it does have this bronzish tint to the leaves, which makes it more interesting than normal fennel, for me anyway. And I just love it in my garden. This section of my yard contains a lime mound spirea. You can see it here with some very tiny pink blooms. It did bloom a little more earlier, but there are a few left. And then we come over here and we have some purple veronica. Some Coreopsis moonbeam, another clump of that, and some more veronica. In this bed, here's another view of my tall Shasta daisies that are coming up. And coming around here, you can see some cute little Johnny jump ups. I have quite a few growing in there, which I love. And I can see a tall weed, some lamb's ear. And coming around here, I have a small pot with some succulents, two different types of sedum. And then I have this really lovely little poppy. It is called a Tangerine Dream poppy. Very pretty apricot color. This delicate little plant is called Corydalis lutea. Lutea meaning yellow. And as you can see, it has small yellow blooms. This is one of the few plants that will bloom in shade during the summertime. And it also has the added benefit, once it is established, it will start reseeding and maybe grow some volunteer plants around your garden, which is a benefit for us. You know, I like to have more plants to fill in areas of my garden, so this is a happy result, and I hope you might try Corydalis lutea. This ruffled daylily is just dazzling with its ruffled petals. It has a yellow throat and a blush pink coloring. It is really pretty, and I wish I could share with you the variety name, but this was a gift from a friend, so unfortunately I don't know its name, but it is a wonderful addition to the garden. Here's a look at my side garden. You can see all my little garden ornaments on my fence. And I wanted you to see particularly my balloon flowers, which are starting to bloom. And I'm going to come in closer here so you can see. Here's the little balloon. And when it's ready, it just pops open. And you have these little gorgeous purple flowers. Aren't they cute? Really lovely. And my new tall garden phlox is beginning to bloom with these really pretty purple colored flowers. And then here's my planter, a little container with some petunias. And down here I actually have another balloon flower. And this one has several blooms on it, waiting to just pop open. Just so cute. This is a really fun flower to include in your garden. Moving to this area, more Shasta daisies, and this is a very lovely and vigorous grass, very healthy, that I planted about 3 years ago, but unfortunately I don't know the name. I am going to try to research that and see if I can find out the name. Here's the front of my garden shed with my decorations and my back garden gate. And then here's my shade garden, again under my autumn purple ash tree. And if you look over this way, you can see I have a comfy swing, a lovely place to sit in the back area of my garden. And then here's my globe blue spruce. And the sun is quite bright this morning, so I'm going to try to come over this way and walk. So you can see I've planted a peony here, some more Shasta daisies, Nautia, and I'm just going to walk along this path till we come into the shade over here. There we go. And you can see my liatris is still working on its blooms. And down here is a look at my fairy garden area. These are Asiatic or Oriental lilies. I'm not quite sure because this was a gift from my aunt years ago. And these lilies have spread, and I have put them in other parts of my garden as well. But they're a quite pretty sort of blush pink color. Very nice. And then over here, I wanted to show you my gaillardia, which has the common name also of blanket flower. This is a western native plant and does quite well in xeric conditions. And you can see I've left the seed heads on this plant as they have developed because those seeds will scatter around my garden and I will get more of these plants in other areas. And I just love this bright red, orange, and yellow pop of color in my garden. And I'm just going to move a little over here. You can see more gaillardia seed heads, and my pink yarrow has been blooming, begun to bloom. This is a gift from another friend, another gardening friend, and it has established itself here in this area. Very nice. Just giving you an overall look at this area of my garden. Here you can see I have planted quite a few more plants, and this area has filled in more since the beginning of the summer. And I wanted to show you, I transplanted this Baptisia plant from a shady part of my garden, very shady, and so it never grew large and it really struggled and I never had any blooms. So I have moved it to this part of my garden and it has started to recover and is growing, and I'm so happy. By next spring it should be reestablished, and then I can expect to have some beautiful purple flowers on it. I do have my Shasta daisies here growing, some rose campion, and there will be more coming later this summer.